Hello and welcome to Bright Blue Innovation. I'm Lidia Paulinska and I'm your host for today's show. On today's show, we will be talking with members of ACM, SIGGRAPH, which is short for Association of Computing Machineries, Special Interest Group on Computer Graphics and Interactive Techniques. Computer graphics are the center of the visual connection to smartphones and devices, entertainment, industrial equipment, and appliances, along with representations of business and scientific information. ACM SIGGRAPH has members that are involved in a wide variety of fields related to the computer graphics and interactive techniques, which includes computer graphics research, software development, digital art, scientific visualization, interactive technology, game design, visual effect, computer science, education, engineering, graphic design, film, television, production, scientific research, and more. The group is most recognizable by the name SIGGRAPH, which is the annual conference put on by the organization. SIGGRAPH is the world's largest conference on computer graphics. Joining us today is current ACM SIGGRAPH President Jeff Jortner. Jeff has been leading the organization since 2014. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. So, first, how did you get involved with ACM SIGGRAPH organization and what drew you to joining?
So I originally found out about SIGGRAPH when I went back to graduate school. I was attending Louisiana State University, and the SIGGRAPH conference just after I started was in Dallas that following year. So I was in a new program in computer graphics in the engineering department. So a group of us went over to SIGGRAPH to go see what it was about and just figure out our research areas, and was just amazed when I saw this conference and what they were doing and how it was going to change, and it just kind of changed my view of how I was going to look at the world, I think. And so from that point on, started continuing and attended SIGGRAPHs all the way up until about 92. And in that time frame, after I graduated from LSU, I ended up going to Sandia National Laboratories and started in computer graphics, working there, doing scientific visualization. And while I was there in Albuquerque, there were folks from Los Alamos Labs and some of the universities and art and so forth that formed what was called at the time a local chapter of SIGGRAPH. And so we started a local chapter doing activities, and I continued to attend SIGGRAPH. And through those activities, I got known to some of the folks at SIGGRAPH, and I applied for a position for the SIGGRAPH 93 conference. And so I worked at the SIGGRAPH 92 conference, was a registration chair for 93 and 94, continued with the local chapter. Eventually I was networking chair in 96, panels chair in 99, information director, treasurer, a number of roles. But through it all, it has been just kind of a professional home where people that are very interested in visual communications, whether it's from an artistic side or from a technical side, would get together to discuss and really see the amazing changes that would happen just in the movie industry, because you would go to SIGGRAPH one year and you might see a paper presented, and you'd see it in a movie the next year, and then talking about how they use the technique.
So being a part of the ACM, is SIGGRAPH technical and scientific organization and more creative community?
It's really a combination of both, and that's really where that we have pushed as a strength all along, was that, of course, it came primarily out of the computer graphics research community, which is really a backbone, and has been. Our technical attendance has been amazing through the years. But a major component of that has been the other artistic sections, which is today the Computer Animation Festival, the art shows that take place, the emerging technology. So it's really a combination of those, and that's really what we really enjoy is having those folks with the scientific mind interacting with those from the artistic that may come up with ways of looking at the technology that somebody never thought about, and they come up with very interesting ways of using the technology that's developed by the scientific side.
So the collaboration is the word to get together this group. Actually, being at SIGGRAPH this year, I was at the panel that the panelists were talking about how the Captain America film was made. And they mentioned that there was 18 teams collaborate together on this movie. And it was just like open-minded that it can be such a group. And I believe in different locations, different, background people. And so there will be probably a lot of challenges also with that kind of collaboration.
Yes. Oh, certainly. And it's, people have very different viewpoints coming from the different communities. But I think you have seen in many cases where in a movie you would see things where from an artistic side the directors would say, that water doesn't look right to me. I'd like to have better water or better hair or better kinds of capabilities. And that's always a challenge then to the scientific side of going back and figuring out better ways. And so you see a lot of those kinds of things happen because you have people looking at it from a more artistic view saying, well, that doesn't quite look right. When the scientific side is, do you really realize what I did to make this look as good as it did? And then get challenged to make it look better.
Actually, yeah, I know that there is a lot of challenges. So you mentioned the entertainment industry and business community. Can you tell us about the organization expanded, how they support this two communities,
Sure.
Business and entertainment?
Right. So the organization, of course, is a membership organization. We're the largest of the special interest groups of ACM, and that there's an organization within that, which is, we have an executive committee board, but we have a number of committees underneath us that really go out with the community and do the hands-on work between publications, chapters, communications, education, student services. There's a number of these that actually is our interface out into the community more than anything else. We have I think it's somewhere in the order of 25 to 30 chapters all across the world that we have interactions with. They interface with the local communities, really just espousing what we do at SIGGRAPH, which is really just using computer graphics. It doesn't matter what it's for, that's what we're interested in. And so from that aspect, we interface. We also interface with companies in doing sponsorships and other types of things. Our technical community interfaces with a lot of those, but in many cases our more business interactions and things tend to happen in our conferences. So besides SIGGRAPH, we also of course have SIGGRAPH Asia, which is we have 2 of the 4 largest ACM conferences that they have, but we also have numerous numbers of other small conferences which are in varying areas that really are smaller but more focused and really interface with a lot of the technical community and business community.
So, so the SIGGRAPH conference is actually, when we think about SIGGRAPH conference, we think more about doing the visual effects on the computer. But it's also have another part, what is interactive techniques.
Right.
Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. So, today probably one of the better known things that's really taken back over and being seen a lot is virtual reality, augmented reality. A lot of that was originally presented at SIGGRAPH. A lot of the initial works and paper and all of that stuff was done at SIGGRAPH from an interactive side. And we've always had people doing things. Wearable computing, a lot of that kind of work was done at SIGGRAPH. So you've seen a lot of these kinds of things. 3D printing, a lot of the basics work that was done in that originally, and it's a renaissance that's happening. We're in this new renaissance of virtual reality, and of course that's become a big thing. for SIGGRAPH because we've done a lot of work there. And there's a lot of, I guess, synergy around that kind of thing. Our emerging technology area is really hands-on, using the technology. What are you doing? So we have those programs along with that major plain technical area where you might see the animation festival and so forth in the papers, but we also have that other side that actually is a growing area between exhibits, e-tech, the virtual reality areas. So all of that is really a growing area for us.
So what actually do you find rewarding, personally, uniquely rewarding for you, being the president of the ACM SIGGRAPH and also, attending the SIGGRAPH? What is there for you? It's a lot of passion involved in the in someone who is for long time stick with the organization and keep going and doing a lot of
I think there's a couple things. One, initially it was primarily a professional. That was what I did. That was the place where the work and things that I was doing. I'm a little different than some of the other folks. I'm more in engineering, scientific visualization, which isn't it came out of SIGGRAPH. It's got its own conferences and things that focus. But what kept me there, I think, more than anything else, is the people and the interactions and seeing the energy of people having it. We have such a vibrant program between the students that come in that are excited. Every year at SIGGRAPH, we have a very large, over 200 student volunteers that work at our conferences, large conferences. And interacting with them has actually been pretty interesting, that I can go out and talk to students about the opportunities and the things that we've seen change in my lifetime within the computer graphics community. But it's, a lot of the people that I've known for many, many years, it's people I go on vacations with, it's people I interact with, have kept it.
And talk about the virtual reality on vacation. But talking about organization, so everyone can actually join the group
and
participate?
Yes, well, and in fact, we have varying levels of membership. So our professional chapters, you can join in the communities and participate on a local level in that aspect. You can certainly join SIGGRAPH, you can join ACM and do that as a member. There are some benefits that you get. You have access to the ACM Digital Library, which is where all of our publications and things are stored, so you have free access to that. But one of the other things as a member, what I've been saying today is it's more about what you are supporting as a member of SIGGRAPH, is that we have this community of the students that are coming through that you want to support in the work that they're doing, of just the good works that we actually go out and support. So we support the small conferences that are going on. We financially back those conferences. We support separate student services, the infrastructure for SIGGRAPH that's behind the scenes of everything. That's part of being a member, supports all of that. So when you go to the conference, there's a lot behind it besides just what the conference does, particularly in our small conferences.
So we have at the studio, we have also students watching our conversation, and they will be pleased hearing that, that's great opportunity for them as well if they are interested in, visual effects. So what are some major trends in that area?
Sure. So on the interactive side, there's no doubt it's the virtual reality and augmented reality. And in fact, you would probably find that today, augmented reality is probably out more in the world from a business used standpoint. If you think about it, somebody who's working on a very large aircraft or something another and says, oh, I don't remember this exact sequence, and they can look at it in their eyes and say, oh, here's how to do it. Those kind of aspects, I think, are just going to be huge and grow and grow and grow. The VR side of it also, both from entertainment, that's introduced a whole new way of doing things, is now how do you provide the same type of experience, and now I'm watching a movie theater, but now I'm watching in a set of glasses, and do that. Things like digital printing have really taken off in terms of how you can do things and how you design and how you build and simulate and do a lot of those types of pieces. The thing is, graphics has just moved into everything, right? I mean, the cell phones that you have today and what you can do with those, and where is that going to go to from an interactive standpoint, because you have so much information at hand and things that you can use with it. So that's going on. The rendering world's not going away. There's a lot of things that are still going out there in the industry, new developments showing more lifelike. I mean, there's the interesting things that have come up is can you have a total digital character in a movie, which is not really something that's kind of the norm, or would you ever have a digital human playing roles? So I think there's some interesting aspects going there.
Cross discipline or something, some animation and
Yes.
with the other. It's interesting that the virtual reality is not new actually thing.
No.
It's 77 years. I
Yep.
checked that. And it just but now become more affordable.
Well, I think it's a lot of things. You look at the technology developments that really enabled it. Is the ideas were there, and just it is a lot of the things in SIGGRAPH and in computer graphics. If you actually look back, a lot of mathematicians and people had done the work very, very early in the 1800s and other years. They just didn't have the technology to do it. And so as the technology has developed, you've got better lenses, you've got better cameras, the electronics has been able to reduce, you can do more power. So as that increases and increases, it's now enabled us to get to the stage where you can do it much less expensive. I mean, when I first started at SIGGRAPH, you'd go out on the exhibit floor and people were buying $500,000, $1 million computers. I can buy a $5,000 graphics card to do what I used to do with a $500,000 computer.
Wow.
So you've seen a huge shift in that, and I think it applies across the board as we advance. You'll see the technology advance too, and you can do more with better technology.
So, the last question. So, one message to take away about the SIGGRAPH, ACM SIGGRAPH organization. Just one message so everyone will remember
Sure.
what that would be.
I think if you're interested in the application of computer graphics, the technology and how it's used, whether it's from a social aspect, a technical aspect, or a creative aspect, if you're interested in that, SIGGRAPH is a place to be. And you can find like-minded people that have very interesting issues and problems and solutions, and it's a great community to be involved with in your life.
Thank you very much. Our next guest is Jerome Solomon. He is the 2017 Conference Chair for the SIGGRAPH Conference. In addition to his activities with the organization and conference, Jerome is a Dean of the college at Cogswell Polytechnic College in Silicon Valley. Welcome at our show.
Thank you.
So, first question, how did you get involved with SIGGRAPH, with ACM SIGGRAPH organization?
So my first experience with SIGGRAPH occurred. I was an undergraduate student at UCLA, and I took a computer graphics programming class. And I was just amazed at what you could do with the computer, a computer program to actually generate images and make things in 3D and make them move. So I had created a moving or sort of like dancing figure, and it was only boxes though. It only used boxes. It was a very crude figure. And then I met a few other people, and they said, well, SIGGRAPH's coming up in Anaheim. This was way back in 1987. You should go down there. And so I went there, and it was just an incredible experience for me. So that's sort of how I became involved in SIGGRAPH.
It's so interesting that our previous speaker was also started with as a student and get involved, and it's kind of characteristic. It's make me kind of laugh, because in 50s people are saying I become engineer because the Sputnik went to the orbit, and
Right.
now we are entering different industry, different areas, what are very exciting. So how did you get involved with the SIGGRAPH conference?
So my first involvement with the conference itself, so once I sort of got the bug of computer graphics, I applied for graduate school at Georgia Tech, because at that time you had to go to graduate school to really learn more about computer graphics and how to do that type of work. And I worked on a short film with a team of students there called Deus Ex Machina, and that short film made it into the Computer Animation Festival, which is one of our premier events at the conference. And that just sort of really started my career and got me more involved in the conference. And since then, I had been the Special Sessions Chair. In 2007, I was working on Industrial Light and Magic, and we brought to that conference Transformers and Spider-Man 3, and I covered some other areas of the conference like production sessions, and I was the director of the Animation Festival one year, and then actually went back to the conference as a contributor again in 2014. I worked on a mobile game with some students at Cogswell College, and we got that into SIGGRAPH. So yeah, it's been a real joy for me.
Yeah, the animation festival at SIGGRAPH Conference, it's a great event actually. I remember spending all evening watching all these shorts that they were awarded, and just from different areas, different subjects. Really, really in the big auditorium actually at SIGGRAPH.
Yeah. We'll get about 2,000 people to watch that, and that is, that's a qualifying festival for the Oscars also.
Wow.
So it's a very big deal to be able to participate in it.
So can you tell us about the conference? Is it technical conference with the papers, or an exhibit-oriented show, or maybe a combination of that?
Yeah, I mean, well, one of the really fantastic things about SIGGRAPH is that it's all of those things. So it's, well, we have an exhibition floor, we have vendors, a lot of the major companies here in Silicon Valley will come, but also you get the major studios showing up on the floor, and all the software producers of computer graphics will typically be there showing their latest and greatest technology. And we have an art show. We have our VR village. We've got technical papers. Our technical papers portion of our conference is one of the world's most renowned technical papers area. So when you publish a paper at our conference, it's a very, very big deal. It's the type of thing that can get you definitely employment, but also awarded a PhD and other things like that. So it's we have a lot of different areas of the conference that are involved.
So speaking about VR, I know that you brought the presentation from the SIGGRAPH. Can we play that for the audience?
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
The VR Village is a place at SIGGRAPH to explore ideas around interactivity, the immersive realities, embodiment, how to move in virtual reality, how to learn in virtual reality, how to perform healthcare in VR or AR, and basically be entertained, have fun, and get creative. Attendees can expect to see a huge variety of things here. When we say content, what we really mean in virtual and immersive realities is content where you get to engage with other users, multiplayer. You get to wear haptic devices, a suit, armbands, things that give you feedback about the tasks that you're doing. We've got games, so not video games, but actual games of tag with other players, other users on the floor here. We have experiences where you get to simulate what it's like to dig an archaeological site. It's really exciting that we have such a variety of installations, demos, and films coming together in one space here on the floor. VR Village is the place to try it for yourself, to immerse yourself, interact, to do it with other players and your friends, and to do it solo, and pretty much investigate every kind of immersive reality that you would expect to have in the real world. The motivation to do this year's program came largely from the idea of, all right, we've satisfied, for the most part, what we would like out of a seated VR experience, maybe watching a film in 360 degrees, maybe playing a game in 360 degrees. But what we haven't explored much is the multi-person interaction in virtual reality, where what you do impacts another user of the technology, or maybe immersive films where you can speak or you can conduct some sort of activity which then changes the course of the narrative inside of the film. So this year we have a lot of that kind of content, a lot of what I call mobile or locomotion-based virtual reality, and a lot that involves haptic technologies and the wearables, and combining all of that with the VR headset's been really exciting. We had over 100 VR-related submissions, which meant that we had to somehow whittle it down to about 20, around 20. We've got 23 here at VR Village and SIGGRAPH, and is highly encouraged again for submitters to submit their content for 2017. Virtual reality and immersive reality isn't simply about creating an experience and delivering it, especially on a computer or a seated experience. It's what happens in the background or what the intent is that makes things so interesting. So a really fantastic couple of projects that are happening here at VR Village this week is right behind me, actually, an installation called Interactivity, and exactly what the title stands for. It's about finding inner peace. It's a meditative tent. You actually have to remove your shoes before you go onto it. And while it might sound a little strange to meditate in virtual reality, it takes you right out of the conference floor for about 10 minutes. People are coming out refreshed. They're really enjoying that kind of experience. Likewise, on the flip side of things, we have the synesthesia suit, which is as far from meditation as you can get. Essentially, you wear a suit, and it's got 24 points of haptic feedback from the feet all the way up to the hands. You wear your VR headset, and you get to feel the beats and the pulses of the music as you actually play this game. So this year at VR Village, this VR Story Lab initiative, it's called Lab for a reason. We are actually collecting data from attendees in the form of a qualitative survey. They're giving us feedback on things like what they thought of the venue, what they thought about doing a film circuit, what this looks like, this place is. We are advising the attendees to go through it and actually try as many of these pieces as they can. What that gives us is information going into next year when we're going to have a brand new initiative that's part of the Computer Animation Festival that immersive film can actually contribute to and be part of. So these attendees are actually going to be able to shape the course of SIGGRAPH's future just with their feedback. VR and AR technology have largely been limited to universities and institutions or research facilities where they have a much higher budget. Immersive technology used to cost quite a lot of money up until very recently. It's been really interesting to see that in the past 2 years the technology has dropped in price. Now it's actually on the shelf and you can actually plug and play at home and create content for yourself. So that's the other thing, is the ability to create VR content is so easy right now with the advent of game engines like Unreal and CryEngine and Unity. Anyone for free can go into these engines, create a virtual world, show other people, keep on learning, building, and there's a lot of great collaboration coming out of that. So it's only going to get more accessible, and it's only going to keep on getting more affordable at the same time.
So the graphics and interactive techniques community has quite a variety of people supporting it. The academic community, business, scientific activities, gaming, entertainment, developers, producers. It must be a challenge, bring them all together and collaborate.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. The way that we accomplish that at the conference is I have 20 program chairs that I work with. So we have representation from Pixar, Leica, Google, Epic Games, that makes the Unreal Engine, and many of the leading institutions across the U.S. and some international institutions too. Each of those program chairs is responsible for a particular venue, and they'll have a subcommittee that works with them of about usually somewhere from 2 to 14 or 15 people, depending upon the venue that where they're leading. And the amazing thing about this is that all of these people, like me, are volunteers. So everybody just works really hard. We spend a lot of our hours after work volunteering for the organization, and people really come to SIGGRAPH with a love and passion for what they're doing. So it's just a wonderful networking opportunity, and it's an opportunity to work with what I would like to call subject matter experts in each area of the conference.
So SIGGRAPH will be next year in...
Yes. So SIGGRAPH is July 30th through August 3rd in Los Angeles. So we look forward to seeing all of you there.
Wonderful. So, so how you prepare yourself for such a huge task, because it will be a lot of preparation and technical challenges.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, for sure. I mean, as the conference chair,
Are you taking vacation for that time?
I mean, I don't know if my college is going to let me take much vacation, but I mean, once again, it's really something that you do out of love and passion for the organization. People, SIGGRAPH really is a family, and people get involved in the conference and they come there and they really, really enjoy it because there is such a diverse group of people in terms of the types of people in the areas that they are interested in being knowledgeable about, and that creates a great environment for learning and just really pushing the field of computer graphics forward. My college is also, very supportive. Cogswell College has been really fantastic in supporting me and helping me, but at the end of the day, I just have a lot of really talented people on the committee with me, and we have a very talented group of administrators that help out a lot. So I don't do a lot of actual work per se, but I just get the opportunity to solve a few problems here and there.
So you are also dean of college. So how SIGGRAPH Conference and being in the academic position, get together for? What about your students? They will be participating at SIGGRAPH?
Yeah. So
are they excited?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we're all really excited. I mean, so SIGGRAPH is really a great opportunity to learn, right, for everybody. Companies come and they sort of put their guard down and they share their latest thing that they've been doing with each other in order to move the field of computer graphics forward. And there's a big involvement from students. We'll definitely have students there from Cogswell College, but we have a student volunteer program that a lot of the leadership of the organization comes out of. And a lot of the folks that you meet in industry that have been involved in SIGGRAPH, they come out of our student volunteer program. So we'll have about 300 student volunteers, and it's a way for them to get into the conference free. And the companies, one year, one of the directors from Pixar for the film The Blue Umbrella, Sasha Unseld, he came and did a presentation just for the student volunteers. So sometimes the students actually get more than the attendees in some way. So students are a really big part of what we do and what we support, because we want to, those are the people that are going to be the the computer graphics professionals of the future. So we try to support them as much as possible.
So I think we have another video showing the students' work in that area, right?
Yeah, so this is a reel that our college put together of student work that was done by some of our students in a bunch of different areas. So we have a program in animation, computer science, game, audio, and even a virtual reality certificate also.
So can we play the video? what's your favorite topic, and what are you looking forward to see at the SIGGRAPH 2017?
So my favorite topic really is the things that I don't know about. So a lot of times I'll go to SIGGRAPH, and since there is a wide variety of area of material in the area of computer graphics, I'll look for something that I don't really know that much about or learn. A way to learn, I'll go to the art exhibit sometime, or sometimes it'll be a technical paper on a particular topic, because the goal when you come to SIGGRAPH is really to sort of stretch your mind and learn as much as possible. For SIGGRAPH 2017, we're looking at doing a lot of new things, and we're looking at doing a VR theater where people can sit down and experience a storytelling or like a film in virtual reality, just like you would at the theater. So there's a lot of new and interesting things that will be happening for 2017.
So they can follow different characters in that movie?
Yeah, so the VR storytelling, the things that are coming out of the studios as far as VR storytelling is really interesting. That not only can you do the things that you would expect in VR, like be able to look around and see what's going on, so you're not like a normal movie where the director's telling which way to look. You can look whichever way you want. But also, these VR storytelling experiences are things that you can interact with, and as you watch the movie, you can change what the story is going to be based on what you do and what you see.
Wonderful. That sounds very, very exciting, and we are looking forward for the SIGGRAPH 2017. Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you so much.